Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? Donald Trump, your president, wants Don Lemon investigated for showing up at a St. Paul, Minnesota church with a group of anti-ICE protesters to disrupt Sunday morning service. All of this because the pastor is allegedly affiliated with ICE. Yeah, fam, the pastor affiliated with ICE. Not just affiliated, fam, they're saying that he directs an entire field of ops. Yeah. Anyway, fam, Caroline Leavitt, press secretary for Donald Trump, said this: President Trump would not tolerate the intimidation and harassment of Christians in their sacred places of worship. The Department of Justice has launched a full investigation into the despicable incident that took place earlier today at a church in Minnesota. Benny Johnson posted the following message in regards to the DOJ's response to Don Lemon showing up and interviewing someone at a protest. DOJ announces intention to charge Don Lemon under the Ku Klux Klan Act. Yeah, fam, you heard that right. The KKK Act makes it illegal to threaten, hurt, or intimidate people to prevent them from exercising their God-given rights. Harmeet Dillon, the head of the Civil Rights Division at the DOJ, said this: The Klan Act is one of the most important federal civil rights statutes. It's a law that makes it illegal to terrorize and violate the civil rights of citizens. Whenever people conspire this, the Klan Act can be used. Everyone in the protest community needs to know that the fullest force of the federal government is going to come down and prevent this from happening and put people away for a long time. God, hypocrisy. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche took it a step further. He signaled that the Department of Justice is investigating independent journalist and former CNN host Don Lemon for his presence during a protest at a Minnesota church. Here are the key details regarding Todd Blanche on Don Lemon. Investigation into church protest. Blanche indicated that the DOJ is aggressively investigating the individuals involved in storming a city's church service in St. Paul, Minnesota, which targeted a pastor allegedly affiliated with ICE. No get-out-of-jail-free card. Blanche rejected the notion that Lemon's self-description as a journalist protects him from scrutiny if he was actively involved in the disruption. Definition of journalism. Blanche argued that freedom of press does not cover somebody just trespassing and being embedded with a group of rioters and being part of a group that storms a church. We'll see. When asked about Lemon's defense that he was acting as a journalist, Blanche responded, "We'll see." Don Lemon has stated he was present at the demonstration as a journalist and not as a protester, calling the focus on him telling, and it is, because we all saw how these uncivilized mutts behaved when the uncivilized mutts got uncaged. January 6th. Wow. You saw what happened there, right, fam? They defended every last one of them. And Trump's first day in office, he pardoned every last one of them. Pardoned them. Oh, they tried to overthrow the government. They killed police officers. Like, people died because of their actions. And not only did they say, yo, we support them, they said, come on, you're free to go, you're free to go, you're free to go, you're free to go, you're free to go. And they also rallied together to help support them financially. Any one of those protesters who wanted to exploit the hustle was able to get paid. Any one of them, they were all able to get paid. Ain't that something? What Trump does is weaponizes law enforcement, government, DOJ, whatever. He weaponizes all of these agencies to get at anybody that he disagrees with, or let me put it like this, anybody who disagrees with him. Anybody who takes a counter position to him, he uses his authority to go after. You talk about abuse of power. We have not seen this in modern history. This dude abuses his power at every turn. It can be the smallest thing, but if it's something that he can use as a rally cry to also remind people of the power that he has. Fear, intimidation, that's really what it's all about. Fear and intimidation, and using this position that he have to take on personal beefs, to extract revenge on his enemies. That's cold-blooded, fam. That's bigger fish to fry out there than going after a journalist for reporting a demonstration, right? He's reporting a demonstration, even if he was not a journalist. If he was acting in the role of a journalist, even if he was not an educated, degreed journalist, proven journalist. If he was acting in a journalist capacity, that's freedom of the press. So this shouldn't even be a question, but we know how Trump feels about freedom of the press. It's all good to have freedom to speak your mind and have that freedom as long as you agree with Trump. If you disagree with him, he's going to be looking at your merger acquisitions and all of that kind of stuff. He's going to be looking at, your taxes, and, he's going to be trying to control what your late night hosts say. He's going to try to infiltrate the monologue. I do not think they want to do that, because that would set a dangerous precedent in this country. And, we love freedom of the press way too much. Although a lot of this press, especially mainstream, they're in cahoots with the government. They always have been. A lot of us are just now catching up with that, and that is because of, thank God, independent media. Yeah, man. Yeah, we get to change the narrative. Yeah, we get to question the narrative. Yeah, shouts out to independent media, man. But they're not concerned about law and order, fam. What they're concerned about is control. They're concerned about control because you have people who support Donald Trump out here right now. They're so uncivilized. They have no decorum. Even people in his cabinet. I'm not even talking about the people in the streets. I'm talking about primarily the people in his cabinet. Just him and the people in his cabinet, they care nothing about law and order. It amazes me how they frequently talk about law and order, while at the same time breaking every rule, crossing every line, just committing crime after crime after crime, but steadily yelling law and order and going after other people who they perceive to have broken the law. And I'm talking about being really, really tough. Well, they're stealing hundreds of millions and he over here stealing billions. This dude has sold oil from Venezuela and set up an offshore account that he controls. He done sold oil on behalf of the United States, collected the money, and sent it to an offshore account in Qatar. Family, do you understand how insane that is? And Congress do nothing asses. They ain't did nothing about it yet. They have not done anything about it. There is no reasonable, lawful explanation for America to be selling oil on behalf of the American people, and the money, the proceeds from that sale, being directed to a foreign nation. There is no reasonable, lawful explanation for that. There is a criminal explanation for it. The guy who works in government, who has been convicted of the most crimes in the history of the United States of America, the most felonies, is at the helm of law enforcement and the military. And he's also started an extension of ICE to use as his personal goons. I know some of you Trumpettes, y'all love that racism so much you think it ain't gonna come back and get you. You just don't even understand how dictatorship goes. You don't understand, how bad this is. You're just so happy that he's rolling all of those laws back to protect others, that you can't see the forest from the trees. But don't worry. It ain't gonna work out like you think it's gonna work out. Not only will we survive this mess, we'll thrive in this mess. And everything that's been rolled back will be rolled forward again. I put that on everything. No more talk.